Hey y'all, Amanda, the ever hopeful gardener here, and we're checking on the compost when it is cold outside. We're in the middle of winter, we're below freezing, and we're going to see what's going on. Here is my most active pile, and you can see the temperature has dropped quite a bit. We're out of the thermophilic range, not much is happening. The goal today is going to be to flip this pile into the middle bin so that we can get it cooking. And in here, I have thrown garden clippings and extra pumpkins from the neighbors. Over here in the first bay, I have a pile that is resting and curing, and you can see it is not down to the ambient air temperature yet, and that is what I'm looking for before I use this pile of compost. Because it's cold, I'm not going to be adding water to the pile today, even though it could use it, but I will be adding 3 of these 5-gallon Bokashi buckets I have going. Look at that perfectly wonderful white mold on top. That is awesome. That is anaerobic mold. That is what we are going for with a Bokashi ferment. This bucket, I have an airscape lid in. It's gratuitous. You don't need it, but I like it. Again, both these buckets are ready to go, as are buckets 3 and 4, and we are going to incorporate them into the pile as we flip it today. The goal of this flip is to incorporate air as we flip it, incorporate more green nitrogen material, those are the Bokashi buckets, and to get the pile back up into that thermophilic range, which is going to help it cook faster and just be ready sooner. There is no reason for you to heat your pile up other than to have it ready faster. You can cold compost, passive compost, you can just create a pile and leave it. Nature will do everything on its own. This type of composting is for those of us that like to get our hands dirty and be part of the process and speed it up as much as we can. While I'm flipping the pile with this pitchfork, I am being mindful to try and make the top of the pile the new bottom, make the bottom of this current pile the new top. I'm also trying to take shovelfuls from the edges and put them in the middle of the new pile. And the reason I'm trying to make sure that all parts of the pile have a new location in the new pile is because I want them all to have a chance to be in the center of the pile where the real cooking and decomposition is happening. Let's talk a little bit about Bokashi while I'm flipping this pile. I think Bokashi has the wrong name in that it's called Bokashi Compost. I think it should be called Bokashi Fermentation because when you are done with the Bokashi after 2 or 3 weeks of it fermenting, you do not have a usable composted product. You have fermented food that then needs to go through aerobic composting. It needs to be added to a soil factory. It needs to be trenched into your garden, or it needs to be added to a compost pile. What Bokashi is it is a method of fermenting food, a Japanese method of fermenting food by using beneficial microorganisms. You inoculate bran. I use Bokashi bran that is spent rice hulls or spent beer grain that has been inoculated with these beneficial microbes. When you add your food scraps to a Bokashi bucket, you sprinkle the bran on top of every layer of 2 to 3 inches of food that you add, and this bran will ferment the food. And at this point, you're probably wondering why bother, because why not just add your kitchen scraps directly to the compost pile? And you can absolutely do that. Bokashi allows you to be a zero food waste household because it allows you to safely and confidently compost things that you might be hesitant to add to your regular compost pile without fermenting them first. Things like meat, dairy, bones, cooked foods, oily foods, everything can go in the Bokashi bucket, and then you're able to add it to your compost pile. For me, Bokashi composting is worth it. I love being a zero food waste household. I love knowing not one speck of food is going into the landfill from our house. I also like Bokashi fermentation because it really heats up my compost pile. So if you are a hot composter and you're looking for your pile to heat up, I highly recommend trying Bokashi compost. As a nitrogen input, it really gets my pile cooking quickly. If you're looking for more information on Bokashi composting, Bokashi fermentation, I have other videos in my profile on YouTube. And if you're interested in this compost system that my husband and I built, you are able to see a video of us building it in real time, and it includes a materials and cut list. The pile is completely flipped. Bay 3 is empty. It's ready for whatever is next. The pile is very large in Bay 2, but this will shrink down as everything decomposes. We're going to monitor the temperature over the next 72 hours to see how hot we can get the pile. 48-hour mark, and we're just over 100 degrees. Let's check on the hot compost pile. Okay. So despite the fact that we are in the teens, I'm almost at 140 degrees. We got snow the other night. It has melted in some places, but still sticking around. It's been in the teens for several days, and let's check and see what's going on. We are still at 130 degrees Fahrenheit. Awesome.